Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call to order our August 9th, 2022 Ascension Drainage District Number 1 meeting. Let's see, roll call. Let's note that Commissioner Ogeron and Commissioner Mason are absent. Everyone else is present. Moving on to the invocation and pledge, I've asked Mr. Cagnolati to lead us here.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Bow our heads and pray, please. Heavenly Father, we ask your blessings on all present here tonight, especially this commissioning board, that we would do our best to manage, take care of, and spend the taxpayers' dollars to the best of our ability. Keep them in mind in all that we do. It's their money, not ours. We ask that you bless us and guide us in all of our actions, and may your Holy Spirit be with us at all times, for we place our lives in your hands, always and forever. In the name of your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
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 I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, let's see, moving along to item number 3, public comments. Anyone who would like to speak on any agenda item, please come see Miss Leslie over here for a rated green card. Fill that out and get that to us. Item 4A, acceptance of our July 11th, 2022 minutes.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Lawler, second by Mr. Cagnolati. Any objection? Hearing none. So moved. Chairman's reports announcement. I have none. To general business, item 6A, we have an update on the Laurel Ridge levee right away. Miss Jane is here, I believe. Yeah.
Good evening. I'm Jane Dufour with Civics, and I have an update for you on right-of-way acquisition for the Laurel Ridge Levee Extension project. Civics has been working on acquisitions, beginning negotiations in December of 2021. We've extended offers to 140 interest owners, so there's a large number of interest owners, even though there's only 30 ownerships within the area that we're acquiring right-of-way. At this time, just compensation offers have gone out to all 140 interest owners. We've completed 11 acquisitions to date, so 11 of those 30 ownerships. All acquisition activities have been completed. We're around 95% complete for another 14 of 30 ownership acquisitions. So of those, we have 8 ownership groups that have accepted the offer, and we're in the process of preparing closing documents, doing curative work required for closing, and scheduling with those owners to amicably acquire the right-of-way. The other 6 ownerships, those files were turned over for expropriation due to either an unwilling landowner or curative items that just couldn't be addressed. So at this time, we're around 90% complete with acquisition activities. When I was here in May, I provided an update, and we were around 70% complete, so we've made progress in the interim. And at this time, we estimate that we'll be complete in fall, in the next few months. Mm-hmm. So that would enable the project to be bid in the fall.
All right, any questions for Ms. Jane? Yeah, Mr. Robert.
Out of curiosity, how many do we have in expropriation?
There's 6 ownerships that have been turned over. 2 of those have been filed at this time. The other 4 we're working on getting.
So those 6 of all of the other cases you've contacted and they're willing to work, or?
Yes, so there's 5 that we're still negotiating with. 4 of those 5 are one family. We're meeting with them tomorrow. I feel confident that we're gonna come to an agreement, but we're in a position to expropriate if not. And then the last one that we're still negotiating is a flowage easement, so the project could go to construction without acquiring that.
Okay. That's all, thank you.
Good. And I'll just give a quick little update as well. We all had a conference call, I believe, about 2 weeks ago.
Yes.
And I get hassled a lot from my late Martin folks. And so the plan, as of now, is that we're hoping, October, November is whenever we'll go out for a public bid. And we have all reason to believe that we will start turning dirt construction January, February of 2023.
Yes,
So, no,
Kimberly's
it was,
here.
yeah, I'm sorry.
Kimberly's here and will be able
Yeah,
to
yeah,
provide
yeah,
an update on bidding, but
Gotcha, okay.
that's the plan.
Did you want to give an update, Kimberly? Oh, yeah, okay, go ahead.
Well, you said it. We're planning to bid as soon as right-of-way is complete. I've been working on the plans a lot the past couple of weeks, working on specs. I'm a little spacey because I've been staring at spec documents all day, and we also met on site on Lake Martin Road today to talk to Rev about the one utility conflict along Lake Martin Road, which shouldn't be an issue with bidding. So we're moving to be ready when they are ready for us to start bidding at the end of the year.
Perfect. Any questions for Ms. Cole?
Quick question.
Yeah, go ahead,
I
Ms.
know
Cole.
we're working with PLD, everything's still on schedule with, see Dwight in the back, everything's good? Yeah. Well, this has been a long time waiting. I mean, you know, everyone here is, we're anxious to see this project up and going, so we'll make sure everyone's on board.
Yeah, we're just waiting on right-of-way at this point, and obviously there's some modifications to the plans. There's a couple ramps that have been added as a result of right-of-way negotiations, and we're just in general, we had gotten it to 90% complete before we went on our very long pause. So the plans kind of sat for over 2 years without any work being done on them, so I'm just doing my edits to them as I have fresh eyes on the project. So that's why I'm working right now, so that everything will be complete by the time right-of-way is complete.
Thank you.
Okay, good deal. Any other questions from Ms. Kimberly? All right, thank you. All right, moving on to item 6B, approval of Wharton Smith change order number 2 to increase the contract by $80,069.70 to demo and replace additional roadway as well as accommodate additional crane costs resulting from the closure of Alligator Bayou Road at the Iberville.
Second.
I have a motion by Ms. Casso, a second by Mr. Lawler, and what this change order is that Ms. Casso's got a beautiful, wonderful new structure over there and at Frog Bayou, and so we felt it necessary that we need a new permanent road back on top. We didn't want to go back patching, so I have a motion and a second. Any question? Any objection? Hearing none. So moved.
Before y'all
Oh.
move on, we also did provide a video of the structure if you wanted to show it
Oh,
now.
absolutely.
So the structure was tested last week. The reps for the actuators were on site to set the limits, so they're functional. It was proof rolled today, the base of the road. So you'll see the right structure is open and closing, and then the left structure is being raised. This is sped up quite a bit because it takes almost 10 minutes for the structures to be fully raised because they are so large. But the road was proof rolled today, so they're planning to pour the entire stretch of roadway Thursday and Friday unless there's a weather delay. So we're moving right along with this project.
Yeah, guys, our contractors like the Secret Service. Every time I go out there, they're like, who are you? I got to show
They're
them
very big
identification.
on
Yeah.
safety protocol, so everyone has to wear a hard hat. They just want to make sure that you're being safe when you enter the site.
That's awesome.
Except for the guy up there.
Yeah, just not the guy on top.
Yeah, he's the one setting the limits of the actuators.
It's like a Bob Ross video.
Yeah, well, I'm glad to see it's operational. Looks great.
Yeah, and a lot of flow can move in and out. I mean, there was barely any differential between the two, and there was a lot of flow that came out when the gates started opening, so it's pretty impressive. So yeah, you can see the current on
Oh,
the
yeah.
right side flowing through. That is into Bluff Swamp, but luckily the water levels were low anyway, so it's not a concern that we were putting into the swamp at that
I
point.
say
And
you're
it
about to get
wasn't,
Miss Terry in trouble.
no, it wasn't a lot of water, and it was a low water level as is. Yeah, it was, we warned, yeah.
Again, thank you so much.
You're welcome, and I believe PLD and Ascension are coordinating for the ribbon cutting ceremony for this project, which I think is going to be sometime next month.
Awesome. It's very rare that you have a project this size and it's finished, and we just did our second change order, on time and budget. It's very
And
impressive.
I think both of the change orders were due to just because of the flood of 2021. So this one was from damage from the pumps that were mobilized after the project bid, so pretty impressive.
Awesome.
Thank y'all.
All right, thank you, Ms.
Thank
Cole.
you.
All right, item 6C, approval of proposals for culvert sizing and consulting services by Hartman Engineering, not to exceed.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Lambert, a second by Ms. Casso.
A quick question.
Yeah, Mr. Lawler?
Do we have any specific culverts that we're looking at, or is it just in general when we need it?
Yeah, I mean, they pop up daily almost. So right now, we're working on some permits for DOTD for the rain gauges. You have to have an engineer stamp, and we're putting gauges at 5 or 6, no, actually 10 different sites. So we got to go through the permit process, and they require an engineer stamp. We're looking at, 2 or 3 different subdivisions that have issues, so it's a multitude of, not just culverts, it's other issues.
Okay, good.
Consulting services.
Ma'am?
Consulting services.
That's right.
Very good.
Okay, I got a motion by Mr. Lambert, and who had my second? Was it Ms. Casso? Any more questions from Mr. Jarrett? No objection? Hearing none? So moved.
Thank y'all.
Item 6D, approval to apply for FEMA-4611-DR-LA Hurricane Ida, and authorize Parish President Clint Quimel to sign and execute all documents pertaining to this application, and/or Patrick Goldsmith, CFO, for financial documents. And this is for the Henderson Bayou Safe House application and the New River tilting weir. And so this is, I believe, the first 2 tasks that we're asking of H&TB in our new ADAPT program to go out and apply for these for us. I have a motion by Mr. Cagnolati, a second by Mr. Wagasback. Do we have any questions for Mr. Monzon? Any objection? Hearing none? So moved. Item 6E, approval for the fiscal year 2022 SWIFT Current Elevation Program, and to authorize Parish President Clint Quimel to sign and execute all documents pertaining to this application, and/or Patrick Goldsmith, CFO, for financial documents.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Wagasback, a second by Ms. Casso, and we have a question by Mr. Lawler.
Yeah, is this for like the raising of houses? Is that my understanding of this?
It's repetitive,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, E and F, I believe, are the same for 2 different.
Yeah.
For the SWIFT program. And yes, there may be some home elevations that have suffered severe repetitive losses.
How do people go about, if we get this money, are we going to have a process for them to apply?
Yes, there is.
Okay.
Yep.
How can we get them that information?
We could probably post it on the website, on the Ascension Parish website.
Okay.
We could do that.
Very good. I'll be in contact with you because I got some people that really need it.
Mr. Cagnolati.
John,
I got some lights still coming on, Mr. Monzon, if you want to hang out for a second.
one other question. This is FEMA, but is it through the Hazard Mitigation Grant Program
Yes, sir.
for the raise?
Yeah.
Okay. That's all, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Ms. Casso.
So,
Ms. Terry.
those folks, hi, John. Those folks who have already received letters, because I have some folks who have received their letter already. Is their letter referencing this program, or is that some previous program?
So this is my first go at it into the program, but the way I understand it is that they would have to have some sort of repetitive loss, and they would have filed those repetitive losses, and there's a record that they have suffered repetitive losses.
So I have some folks who have already gotten a letter saying that they are.
Yeah.
Mr. President looked like he was wanting to answer a question.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this is, as we all know, this is a recurring thing that we do every year. This is just the SWIFT Current of 2022. So very similar program, almost close to identical. But yes, this is where H&TB is coming and handling some of that process for us. But the same process, basically, have to be repetitive loss. So those others that receive those letters, Those are probably from 2021 and 2020. They're still valid, still going to be worked through the process to.
Thank you so much.
Any other questions? Any objection? I did have a motion in a second, right? I'm forgetting. Okay, Mr. Weisbach and Mr. Cagnolati? Okay. All right, hearing no objections, so moved. Item F, apply to.
Motion to approve.
Okay. We have a motion by Mr. Lawler and a second by Ms. Casso. Any objection? No. I have a question by Mr. Weisbach.
Yeah, what are the difference between the two items? I'm just curious. I'm looking at both of them. I don't see.
I'm sorry, I cut you.
What is the difference between the two items?
You want to help me out here?
The grants officer has someone to represent and maybe
I'm just
explain
curious.
that.
I'm looking at both of them. I don't see.
Hi, I'm Latricia Anthony with the Grants Department. Basically, they're similar. It's just one of them, they're trying to push it through a little faster because normally the FMA program takes a little while. So the SWIFT program is trying to push the elevation programs through a little faster than the normal process. So that's the difference. It's the same process, same elevation is going to be performed. It's just trying to push it through a little quicker because FEMA takes a little while on the FMA programs. That's your difference.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, hearing no objection, so moved. Item G, approval to enter into a contract with CSRS we have a motion by Mr. Lawler, a second by Ms. Casso, and a comment by Mr. Lawler.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you to the president. This got a little contentious at times, but I'm glad we're going to do this. It's one of those things that I wish I wouldn't have made it as contentious as I did, but we're doing the right thing on this, so thank you.
I'm gonna just say a quick comment. So this started out in drainage, and I am gonna object to this because this body doesn't have the authority to actually change any of our development or flood. I think that this should be a council issue, and we kind of have some of that going on already with Kendrick Keys, but I have no issue with it being done, just that we're using drainage dollars to study something that we don't have the authority to change. So I just wanted to put that on the record, but members of the commission did recommend it, so it's here on our drainage agenda. Is there any other questions, comments? We need a roll call vote. We have 6 yeas and 2 nays. Motion passes. All right, item number H, amendment number 3 to master task order contract with Delcom for repair and maintenance services at Marvinboro Henderson, Bayou, and Sorrento pumping stations to extend contract term through August 27, 2023.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Ms. Casso, a second by Mr. Lawler. Would you like to make a comment, Mr. Ryan?
It's just a renewal.
Renewal?
We'll probably be doing another RFQ soon on this. It's been 3 years. So this will just be a renewal to take us through that transition, and then we'll come back to you guys.
Let me,
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
quick question then.
Mr. Lawler.
How have they been doing, Delcom? Have they been doing a good job? From everything I hear, they have.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we brought it to you guys at the last couple meetings back, a presentation on all the
Yeah.
work that we did accomplish with them. So yes, they have been doing some really good work for us.
Great. It's good to hear. Why does it look like state?
Any objections? Hearing none, so moved. Let's see, I'm sorry, I lost my spot. Okay, item I, discussion to enter into an intergovernmental agreement with the 4-H Club, Ascension Parish School Board, and East Ascension Consolidated Gravity Drainage District Number 1, requesting to assist the 4-H Club in supplying personnel, materials, and equipment. No, so this is just for discussion because we don't actually have the legal, yeah, so last week was really kind of the first time it was put on, or the week before last, put on my radar. We do have some legalities to work out. And I took these pictures, excuse my fine art, from screenshotting on my cell phone. But this is the Ascension Parish School Board, the maintenance building on Sorrento. And you can see in the back, so they have a lease that's been in agreement, I believe, since around 2008. And Mr. Thad, you are welcome to come up here and speak. Yeah, absolutely. And so they have leased this property from the school board since 2008, and this is where 4-H Club practices their rifles and shotgun and whatnot. So years ago, Ascension Parish has helped them out. And let's see, I'm gonna go to the next slide. Okay, so right here you can see from overhead, in the red is roughly, I don't know, about 200 or 300 feet of a levee. And it turns a little bit into the woods. And in the yellow with the circles is where they shoot from, and that's the direction they shoot. And it basically, just catches the ammunition. Well, it's been
So if I'm looking at some of your yellows, it is very nice.
It's fancy, huh?
So the bottom yellow is actually not one of our spots. Your top yellow is one of the is the high house, and the arrow of the bottom yellow is actually over the low house. So one's this way, one's that way, and then there's a trap house in the middle. So they're still shooting off this way.
Gotcha.
on the left, and the same, they're shooting off towards the back on the right. It's just shotgun gets taking place on both sides on one weekend, and then on another weekend, we have the 22s and stuff on the other one. So there is technically a back berm that you don't really see, but you drew with your red.
Well,
and
I have
then,
pictures of let's see. Let me see, that's one of the houses you're
yeah, that's the high house,
That's the high house.
Mhm,
you
and
can
the
see
low house is
levee.
right behind this.
And the levee is really overgrown with vegetation,
Mm-hmm.
so it looks much higher than it really is, but that levee is probably not but about maybe 5 or 6 foot tall.
Yeah, so if
And-
like you cut the grass, we can see heads.
Right, you can see over it.
Yeah. Scary. Yeah.
Right, and so what the 4-H Club is asking of us, and this is standing right here, you can see the levee. What they're asking for us, and that's not the best picture, but you can see the long part of the levee, and if you look to the right, you can see
all the way in the back.
Yeah, the other short part of the levee that's kind of underneath the trees. What they're asking of us is if we would allow our drainage personnel, if we would go in there and revamp their levee for them.
And the process that they use, they would actually take out a piece of the berm so they could drive around it, but they
This little
basically,
piece, this little piece right here that's close to the metal building,
Mhm.
they would have to kind of tear out a little section to where they can get the trucks in there. We go in there, we cut the grass, and we bring them, I think we're estimating around
Yeah.
15, 20 loads of dirt, and just repack it for them.
yeah, and like, we just need the top smoothed off so
Right.
they can set it on top. There is a berm on the other side, if you go back
Yeah, I
to the
didn't
other
take a
building.
picture of it.
Yeah, it's an archery berm. So we have a little berm over there, but those are the three pieces. And just every, 5 to 6 years, we kind of have to look at, where they're at and how much they've settled. And so we've thankfully have had the agreement kind of with the parish and the school board to assist if they have the means and the availability of the dirt and stuff. So we're basically just asking and putting it on paper.
Gotcha. And so I spoke at length with Mr. Chad Lynch last week. Mr. Chad's opinion is that this land is leased from the school board to the 4-H Club. He said, if y'all want us to sign something, he said, I'm happy to bring it, to his school board for approval. He said, but this land is leased and operated and maintained by the 4-H Club. He said, in his view, he said, if y'all get an agreement with the 4-H Club, y'all do what y'all have to do. He said, we're good to go.
Yeah.
So really, and I just sprung this on John Paul early last week to get him kind of start working it out. So, so the main thing I wanted to do tonight was bring it to our attention. It is a little bit of a time-sensitive thing. I think Mr. Thad said y'all start roughly at the beginning of September.
We usually do. We try to.
Right.
But I mean, we need to be safe.
Right. And something that I will do, which I'm gonna let Mr. Robert speak on it. If he feels like it's ready before the next September meeting, then if it's ready for next week, I might call a little special drainage meeting right before council next Thursday.
Is this something that could go to the full council? Or does it have to be?
Well, I think because it uses the drainage resources, yeah. So I think that's why it really needs to be here. Make sure everybody's aware that there's gonna be dump trucks on and whatnot, and that we're gonna, give away a few loads of dirt to the 4-H Club. But I will let Mr. John Paul Robert elaborate.
I drafted a document and approved it this afternoon, actually, and I was trying to see if it was transmitted to you, but I thought we were going to have it done in time for you to vote on. That was my goal.
I got you. Where the agenda says discussion, it doesn't say vote, so I don't know if we can legally vote on it, right?
Yeah, so we're, right.
Okay.
So, but we're ready to go with it.
Can we make a motion to the agenda and get everybody to vote yes, and then we can do such?
Good.
Yeah.
Could amend the agenda.
I'll make the motion that we amend
I'll
the
second.
agenda.
Okay.
Using a unanimous vote.
Okay, so at this time, I will entertain a motion to add approval of the intergovernmental agreement with the 4-H Club.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Lawler, a second by Ms. Casso. Is there any objection to adding it to the agenda? Hearing none. And what I'll do is I'll put that right under J. Okay, and I'm gonna go ahead and just jump to that now, if that's okay with you, Ms. Secretary?
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Jake. Look, we'll make it JA. 6JA.
I'll make a motion to approve
Huh?
JA.
J1.
Or J1. J1. Okay, and I do have a motion from Commissioner Robert and a second by Ms. Casso to go ahead and approve the intergovernmental agreement between the Drainage Commission and the 4-H Club. Any questions, any objections? Hearing none, so moved.
Thank you, guys.
Okay.
We sure
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Thank you all very much
Yeah.
for what you do for our
Thank you, ma'am.
kids.
I don't know
That
if-
program is just wonderful.
I don't know if y'all know this, but we sent seven. We sent 7 BB kids to the national BB competition in Daisy, and we actually sent 2 kids from our Ascension group, both one in shotgun and one in 22, to the national 4-H competition in Nebraska this year. So we normally do at least get to send somebody to these national competitions and a coach. So we were really proud of them.
Awesome.
So,
I think Mr. Thad said, you had like 150, 160
we
kids
usually
now?
start off with that. I think this year we had 73 that got their 8 hours of training. So from start to finish, when we start in the new members start in October. So from October all the way to February, March, I had 73 that got their 8 hours of training with us. So, and then we had 60 something that competed in district, so multi-parish events, and I think I had 40 something that competed in our state events. And of the 40, we have like 60 something actual disciplines. So we have several kids who do multiple disciplines. So they'll do BB and air rifle or BB and air pistol, so it's really a very large program. I don't know if any of y'all are aware of just how big it's dang near as popular as our livestock program. So we're pretty
Awesome.
proud of it. Yeah.
Good deal. Well, thank y'all so much.
No problem,
Thank
guys.
you.
Thank y'all for hearing us.
Okay, let's see, we are moving on to item J, discussion of the management agreement addendum to existing contract between Ascension Consolidated Gravity Drainage District Number 1 and Ascension Parish, Section B14 regarding terminations of EACGDD employees, and entertain vote on amendment or removal of Section B14. Let's see, Mr. Robert, I'm gonna let you take the lead on this, Mr. John Paul.
Yeah, in looking at the agreement, it starts off by saying that we have to abide by the charter and the provision on making the drainage board the decision maker on employee terminations conflicts with the full council's ability to be an appeal board for the terminations. And even if the drainage board sat as an appeal board, it's the decision maker and the appeal is the same, and it seemed to be a conflict. And so those provisions seem to be at odds with one another, and kind of goes against the charter and the structure of the charter. And so I think it's more appropriate that we if we're going to abide by the charter under this agreement, that we maintain the council as the final appeal board for all employee terminations, and then leave the administration as the decision maker. And so the suggestion was just if the cleanest move was just to remove that provision, which would then put all employees under drainage and the parish in the same procedural posture for terminations.
I'll make that motion, Mr. Chairman.
I think it's just for discussion again.
No,
Approval?
a discussion, in the middle sentence, and entertain vote
Oh, okay,
on
cool.
amendment.
That's good.
Okay, so I have a motion from Ms. Castro to remove section B14 from the manager agreement addendum, and have a second from Mr. Lawler. Any questions, any objections? Hearing none, so moved. All right, item J, no, I'm sorry, that's one we just finished. Item K.
Motion to enter into executive session.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Lawler to enter into executive session, a second by Mr. Weisbach. Ms. Leslie, can you please, oh, look at her, on top of it.
Councilwoman Casso.
Get a vote? Okay, there we go. All right, go into executive session. Are the cameras back on? Are we good to proceed? I guess so. All right, I have a motion to reconvene by Mr. Cagnalotti, a second by Ms. Casso. Any objections? Hearing none, we are reconvened. At this time, Chair would entertain a motion on item K.
Oh, sorry.
All right, Ms. Lawler.
Okay, I hope I get this right. Make a motion to permit legal counsel to start negotiations or re-engage in negotiations with Willow Lake subdivision regarding the lawsuit. And we will, legal term, I always say order, it's not ordered, but I'm just used to legal terms, order administration to work with HNTB to resolve the flooding in this entire area and make this a, I guess you'd say a prioritized project. Because of the vast number of neighborhoods and people that this involves.
Okay.
Is that
pretty
accurate?
Wait, that is the motion by Mr. Lawler, which I will not repeat, and that is the second from Ms. Casso. Any objection? Hearing none? Huh?
I did it all in once.
Yeah, it was two-part. Okay.
Motion for executive session again.
Yep, we're going back into executive. Motion by Ms. Lawler, second by Mr. Cagnalotti. Everyone, please vote. Okay, we're good.
I'm trying not to say order, it's just to have.
All right, we have a motion to reconvene by Mr. Cagnalotti, a second by Ms. Casso. Whoa,
No.
We got a vote to do first.
yeah.
I'd like to make a motion, sir, relative to the last executive session, that we authorize the parish president to negotiate and put under contract a piece of property of interest to our Highway 22 project.
Okay.
Second.
Have a motion by Ms. Casso, a second by Mr. Lawler. Any objection? Hearing none. Motion passes. All right, moving on to 7A. Mr. Monzon waiting so patiently. HNTB or floodplain management update.
See if I can get it hooked up right.
You better not have that 49ers background again.
You guys still like the 49?
Just him.
My daughter still sleeps with a Joe name appointed.
Perfect.
There we go.
Perfect. All right.
Joey Garoppolo.
I promise to get you out of here and maybe enjoy an early dinner. So I'm going to give you a brief update on the floodplain management plan and what we've gotten done thus far. This is the Gantt chart, our schedule. See, end of July, early August. We put a lot of additional resources on it, so we'll be able to catch up. Right now, most of the bulk of the work is going to revolve around finalizing our project of 30, our list of 30 projects. We've met with the parish officials, and we have a pretty good idea as to which way they want to go. So just to give you an update on that, the goal was originally, the deadline was August 31st, but due to some of the additional fine-tuning that we have to do to get those projects down to 30, and we want to make sure that we get the right 30 projects, that we'll have the FMP for review in September. So the schedule shifted by about a month, but we're pretty confident that we can get that to y'all by the end of September. And so that just to get y'all the final list of the 30 floodplain management plan projects. Survey status, this is additional survey status. You will see the green dots, a lot more survey work done. Maybe about 2 or 3 weeks left of that additional work done. And we'll submit that to Ron when it's done. Risk mitigation strategies. So as you can see here, this map, it's got a dot for every project that we looked at. We actually wound up at over 60 initially. Currently, we have cost-benefit ratios for approximately 20 projects. And when we get to the final 30, each one of those will have a cost-benefit analysis. We're going to meet with the parish next week to determine a prioritization to get those lists down from number 1 to number 30. As mentioned earlier, again, FMP is scheduled to be submitted for review in September. The team anticipates review comments from the parish. These comments will be incorporated into the plan prior to the finalization of the floodplain management plan. And that's where we are right now. So any questions on the floodplain management plan?
I will just make a quick statement. At our last steering committee, I didn't mention that, our 18-month August deadline was going to be, pretty tight. And I felt comfortable letting the HNTB know that at this point we were so far, if they needed another month or two to get it and get it right and not rush it, that I didn't feel this commission would have, a whole lot of, heartache about that. Because, they're doing a pretty phenomenal job for us. So I just wanted to mention that. Yep, Mr. Parish President.
Yeah, so Chase is right. This is not like they're not producing. This is when you start to dig into each and every one of these projects and the variables that exist with pipelines, utilities, ownership, whether they're willing to, whether we've got to expropriate, benefits of each and every one, and as well as some of them are built into phases. And so you're looking at several projects into one of the 30. You may say, like, for example, Grand Goudin, it has so many different branches. Well, that's several different phases of that project, even though it's one project to improve that area. So we're getting there, but it is taking some. So what we don't want to do is rush it. I just want to assure you that we are making progress, and we are. So we've gained a lot of ground in the past month on getting this list more redefined.
We have, and once we finalize the 30, it's very important that we don't overanalyze the entire 63 projects that we came up with, because each model has a run, 5 runs. So on 1 year storm, 5, 10, 50, and 100. and each run takes 4 hours. So if you're gonna do one project, it pretty much takes about 20 hours to run it. So it was very important that we get the ones we feel are gonna be beneficial, the ones that can be built into phases. Let's do it smart, and then get those 30 out. I'm also prepared to give an update on ADAP. I know it's not on the agenda, but no
Is there
need
any
to
questions
tonight. Okay.
on the floodplain management before Mr. Mazan goes into adapt?
No need to go to ADAP, right? Okay, no, we're good.
No, okay, you good? Okay, any questions for Mr. Mazan?
Just one quick question. While we're looking at all these projects, I know we had talked about earlier, we have permits on a lot of these projects. I want, please make sure that we have these things numbered and ready to go, because action.
So one of the
we
ratings.
We know we gotta dig somewhere. And we
That-
need to-
There's several things to consider when we prioritize these projects, feasibility being one of them. Do you have permits in place? If you have permits in place, those projects should probably, move up to the top of the list. Part of the feasibility, do you have utility issues, or power lines, gas lines? How difficult is it going to be to acquire land? Do you have willing landowners? A lot of those things are going to come into play. So we're going to come up with a prioritization. We have a prioritization tool right now, but we want to fine tune it to make sure that we take all those other intangibles into consideration.
You want to say something, Mr. President?
No, that sums it up. I mean, when we go into rating these, BCRs are not the only factor. They're one of the critical ones we look at, but also the ones that we have permits take a priority because we can move on those almost immediately. So as we rate these and we start to redefine them, permitting is one of the top categories on which projects get selected and how we move on them.
Thank you for bringing that out.
All right, thank you, Mr. Mazan.
Thank you all.
Appreciate it. Let's see, 7B, or drainage, or monthly drainage report, Mr. Jade Robin. I passed the clicker to Mr. Ron. There you go.
Make sure it's on there. On the side.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, Council. As usual, July report here. Tree removal, New River. We can go through a few pictures, let you see what our guys are actually doing in the field. And I want to remind y'all with the trees again, a lot of these trees fell after the storm. We are seeing that. We've even went back in some of the canals that we have cleared, and we cleared through our contractors and had to remove several trees due to those things just fall in these rain conditions and soft grounds. So we're still seeing that. So if anybody sees it, we don't want to think that we didn't clear a tree. It is probably something that fell lately. Some more tree removal. Vegetation management. We want to show this and remind that just as Mr. Johan does vegetation management, we have that boat crew that sprays. So we are starting to get back into the spray patterns to get rid of this stuff and get that water flowing. This is one of the areas, I think I reported on a little New River area around the church over in Santa Ma that we did some spray and turned out very successful. Roadside ditch projects, we're moving very good on those. You see Airport Road, Adele Street, Ficklin Estates, some off-road drainage. Gressitt Road, I hope I pronounced that right. That's a culvert project, and also dig some roadside ditch, and a couple shots of that. Lake Park Avenue, replace a culvert. And this is one here I'm really proud of, kind of rolls into some of what Mr. John's working on. These are some jobs that we can do right now, Mr. Dempsey, like you desilting This is a desilting project. When I first went and looked at this project, I think I showed y'all pictures of this before, but those box culverts were half full. So just doing a maintenance desilting, you see how much we took out of that, how much more water flow we're going to add for these guys in that area. So just like our parish president says, we have plans into moving into those laterals off of that, or that's the lower Goudin. We will be moving. We're moving towards the middle right now, and it is maintenance desilting. We're trying to stick to what the original shape of that canal was and look at those box culverts and make sure that we're flowing what's existing now. A lot of this stuff runs underneath the state highways. So we know we're not tearing up a state highway, but if we bring it back to its natural abilities, we're gonna get some flow. A lot of this stuff's half stopped up. Ryan and I took a ride down to the middle of Goodine off the interstate, and we noticed some areas that were kind of in the same situation. So we really was kind of highly focused in this area because it moves a lot of water, and it's gonna, the New River project, it's gonna benefit this a whole lot. The pipes we put in at Smith Bayou, very good benefit for this. So it's, we're trying to pull it all together and get the benefit across the largest area we can. So I thought it was worth mentioning that with this, because this was a great start to a big project. Some grading, dress up, fence repair, sinkhole repair. I really like this shot. Gives you an idea of what we go back and look at contractors did in the past. They didn't put the cups in the pipe. This causes us a lot of trouble, and these homeowners are building fences on top of it, and we have to go back and repair this years later down the road. So this is what Mr. Ron works with planning and zoning, is making sure we're inspecting this stuff to where we don't have to come back and spend our taxpayer money when they build these neighborhoods because they did faulty work, didn't put the cups in the pipes. We see this a lot, and I know it's very burdensome on the taxpayer. So hopefully we clean that up with a lot of what this team is working on. Culvert maintenance, we're trying to run behind our vegetation crew and keep these culverts open. That's kind of a before, during, and after. Some riprap work, opening culverts up, trying to protect some of that from washing away. Roadside ditch, driveway replacement and dress up, and your finished product, I'm sorry. This here, this kind of was I was proud of this. Our recreation department recognized that we had a drainage issue in one of our parks. It didn't just affect our parks, but it affected the neighborhoods around it. So we were able to do work within our own facility, actually perform some drainage work and reset a bridge at the same time, while also enhancing the park. So it's a pretty nice project, and it supported another group within our agency. So we was glad to work with them with that. And these guys did a great job with it. Parks are a wonderful thing, man. So our work order status, I want to recognize Miss Leslie over here. She works very, very hard. Y'all know we have a new work order system. One of the things that we're trying to take a lot of pride in is if you look over to the box in the top right corner, your actual status numbers, you'll see approved, in progress, and new. We're really trying to stay tight and hold these guys accountable on these statuses. So when y'all guys go back for these reports, you'll notice in progress has 10 jobs in progress. There's no reason to have 60 or 70. You only have 10 crews. We can only do 10 jobs. So what this does for me, hopefully y'all recognize it, proves that these reports are very accurate, and we're working to try to keep the accuracy up for y'all so that, you know, y'all really know what we're doing, and we're trying to earn your trust. So, but we've got 65 approved, 10 in progress, 8 new. This is a snapshot of the last day of July. This is how we do this report. On hold is 24. On hold could be a project that we started. We could be waiting on pipe. It could be in any certain item like that. We don't want to leave it in progress, but it has been addressed. Plans have been made to move forward on it, so it is in on hold status. You can see we completed 73 work orders in the month of July. Unassigned is 11. Here's by activity. Now this was actually work orders that came in for the month. It's not necessarily work orders. Actually, these are completed work orders. And these are your completed by location, by map. So you can look in your district by map and kind of get an idea where we're working within your council district. Here's your activities by activity code, whether it be a culvert, digging off road, waterway obstruction, vegetation cut, and then, of course, your departmental. And most of the bulk of it's going to go to minor drainage. Your majors are mostly planned within. They're not going to be work orders from the external. And here you'll see where we completed a total of 106 work orders in June at the end of the day. And I always like to show y'all what's coming in every month because everybody wants to know why we have 400 work orders on back. We were able to complete, and you're starting to see your average. You went 98 in May, 126 in June, 106 in July. You notice we're averaging 200 work orders a month. So it starts to give you an idea what it takes for our crews to do this work, the size of our crews, and maybe what we need in the future, or maybe how we need to plan our maintenance, one or the other. But this is the trends after a year, year and a half, 2 years that we're going to be able to develop those plans with y'all on how we move forward. So very important stuff. And here's your also your full work order status. Major drainage projects completed in July, Vincent Tripp Ditch. I want to remind y'all we are running all of the laterals off of Vincent Tripp. We are not doing just Vincent Tripp. So all of these guys are going to get some benefit out of this job. Joseph Area to Bang Ficklin, Highway 74, Adden East Road, and El Landry Cross Culverts. That was a little joint effort with the state. Turned out very nice. Lower Goudine lateral spall removal. You saw pictures of that earlier. Alex Rain Road, we dug the outfall. Highway 22 to Anderson Canal. Projects in progress, the laterals off Vincent Tripp. We're in the process of moving to that middle Goudine lateral. Culvert replacement rifle range. I do want to note that is the sheriff's rifle range. Ira Road lateral. And upcoming projects is kind of the same running list you're seeing over and over every month. It just gets bumped up and up. I will tell you, we're really concentrating some of our major drainage to that Goudine section right now. So I kind of put the middle and upper Goudine laterals up there for y'all. Right now, just so that y'all are aware, our shredder is down. It is out getting fixed. It is not something we can do in-house. We do have projects. It may be out a month or so. It's never a very quick process to get one of those machines fixed, but just be aware if you don't hear a shredding, that is why. That thing shredded numerous amounts of debris in the last few months. It probably deserves a break. But so Smith Bayou Interstate to Ashland Road, Stevenson lateral from Eagles, Aikens Road to Dago Road, Burat lateral from Merritt Evans to Parker Place. And you'll see here I made some notes. We have some things that probably could have happened already, but just as they stated, I think last night I heard there's the culverts. Your wiring inside your culverts affected us getting culverts, the metal in them. So we have several culverts on order, and we've actually robbed for projects that couldn't be done to get projects done. So that's kind of where we're at with those guys, but we'll put them on the schedule as soon as we get product. And that's it, guys. You have any questions?
Any questions for Mr. J? Mr. President.
Yeah, I just want to give a shout out to Jade and his crews. And I think what he touched on was very important, especially in the Vincent Tripp and the Goudine. What they're doing is they're going in, and while the equipment's there, is asking the questions to themselves, what else can I do here? And let's get as much work done in this area, and let's not hop around and be inefficient. And so they're looking at that every single time, and they're trying to improve these channels and get as much work as they can while that equipment is there, and trying to be efficient with time as much as possible. And so I want to give them kudos for that.
Thank you.
And they're doing a great job and going to continue to do so.
Okay. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, Mr. White's back. You might have one question, Mr. G.
No, I don't have a question. I was just going to reiterate what Clint said. I know y'all are doing a lot of work around the Goudine, and during the flood last year, I spent a whole day going to look at all those laterals, and it was really, again, with New River coming up, a lot of that was just so silted in, and I know y'all are doing good work. I appreciate it, because the water just kind of it's a place where it just kind of sits until everything moves on. So I appreciate all the work.
Thank you.
All right. We are moving right along. Item 7C. Mr. Johan, vegetation report.
Good afternoon, Chairman and Council. Let's go ahead and get started with our what we'd happened in July. Give you all an update of where we're at with our sandbags. Currently, our vendor has 80% of the 100,000 sandbags filled, and we're getting ready to shortly move them to Lamar Dixon to be stored. We've already got our own production line and has been set up. Update for our aerial drone application. Our testing phase was definitely successful. We have ordered a tank and pump to be installed on the trailer that carts the drone around to help improve logistics, so he can refill while they're out in the field. To actually show you some numbers, our current production rate with what we've been testing is about 1/3 of an acre per tank. The drone holds about 9 gallons per tank. Covers about 1,700 linear feet in one application. We're estimating to be able to spray 1 to 3 acres per day, and that is just because of our limiting factors, our runtime and recharge rates of its batteries at the moment. Moving on to our Lifehouse crew spotlight. Doing some more servitude work. Abby James in Wood Run. Autumn View in Fields Court. Working down on Fox Ridge. Also cleaning up Ascension Trace. They went through the entire servitude Ascension Trace. Also working with the litter, and the picture on the right, they were actually making sure that the Panther Roundabout was spruced up and ready to go for its grand opening. Some spotlight for our quadrant guys mowing and spraying. Here we got some shots of them cutting down at Marvin Bro Levee off of Germany Road, Panama Canal, C-Clamp Road, doing off-road as well during 621. Our tree crew, don't want to forget about them. They're always working, getting some low limb removal on Norwood. We're definitely seeing an uptick on work orders they're going to be putting in for to remove obstructions as school buses are now out and about. And on top of that, some roadside tree debris. This was off of Sam Martin and Ernest Floyd. I forgot to notate that in there. Letting you know some work order metrics. So what we are receiving in, as you could see, we received a huge jump in influx between May and June. July, we received 214 in just these few days. In August, we're already up to 63. To what we've completed, as y'all well know, the nonstop rains of July have definitely hampered our output. We managed to complete 74 in the entire month of July. And already, as of the report that I ran this morning, we are already up to at least half of the production that we were at in the whole month of July. So we're hoping and praying for some dry weather so we can get some grass knocked down and sprayed. Current status of our work orders as we sit in vegetation. Over 45 of everything we have is already complete. 21% has been approved and waiting on the supervisor. 4% is currently in progress, and we've got 29% is sitting as new, waiting to be approved for the supervisors and vetted. Completed work orders in July by task code. As you can see, our hand cleaning and servitude is leading by far. Secondary, getting our parish roads cut. This trend seems to be holding true month by month by month. This last weekend, we finally had a weekend where it wasn't scheduled to rain cats and dogs. We had a crew of 6 working this last Friday and Saturday on 431. It was our last of our state highways that needed to get cut. Here we got a few pictures of them on 431. They worked really hard and did not have any major safety incidents during this entire time. So giving a shout out to these guys that actually worked the weekend and got 431 completed. I believe by Monday afternoon is when they finally finished and got to Fred's. Anybody have any questions or comments?
Oh, yeah, Mr. White's back.
Yeah, I'm gonna make it real fast.
Okay.
We're all ready to go. Yeah, I was gonna request a picture of the drone, just because I think that'd be cool to see. The one that you sprayed in the off-road.
Okay. I actually had a picture on last one. I'll make sure to throw one in there.
Yeah.
Last month, I actually had to draw an arrow to it while it was flying because it's hard to see when it's up in there. Okay.
Just kidding.
I'll
But
send you a
anyway,
picture of it.
yeah, I would like us to see, I know this summer's been rain and tractors. I would like us to see us, you know, as we go into that cutting season next year, maybe develop some kind of report on, you know, how many miles of road we cut, where we're at monthly, just to, you know, I think it's good. I get phone calls, you know, that we're behind on cutting, and I get it. I always talk about rain, but
Yeah.
I think it would help us out with the public to just report on how much we're cutting each month, and then it kind of gives us a view of overtime and things like that, or if tractors are down. I think that'd be good reporting. And I appreciate the work order part. I think the work order part works better for drainage, but the mileage and the percent complete, or maybe the reasons why we're behind would really help to just educate the public on the challenges that you guys face. So instead of us calling you about different things, you know, maybe we have just a general communication that's, you know, uniform amongst all of us about, you know, a quadrant that we're in and why it's behind, tractors behind, wet, you know, just things like that. Just a suggestion. This year, I mean, it's just raining a lot, and I know you guys are trying to catch up, and we're still in the lingering effects of COVID, but just something I think in the future would be really helpful for the public to understand.
I agree.
Because we do get, I would say that we all get phone calls. I do, you know, why does it look like they're behind? Why are they behind? Things like that. So it'd be good to have a general report to share. So just a suggestion.
Okay. Yeah, something you want to add?
Yeah, Mr. J, go ahead.
So I'm glad you hit on that, Mr. Dow, because Ron and I kind of had anticipated this within the last couple of weeks. We've really been working hard with Mr. Johan and Mr. Todd, so prematurely, I'm going to give you kind of a little idea where we're heading. So there was no plan when this young man came in. He was hired to develop a plan. So right now, Mr. Johan has been the first one here to work with GIS and break this down by council districts. So when we go back to work order systems, it will benefit to use a work order system because we're going to be able to report what council district we're in and where we're going to. It also helps utilize where his managers are going to be able to plan their work more accordingly. It's one of the challenges we've really seen. You take a road that may be 6 miles, it might cross 2 or 3 council districts. It's benefiting you, this guy, and this guy, but is it really benefiting as a whole when these guys call in and say, are we getting grass cut? So when you start looking at it as a council district, you're looking at a piece of the pie. Okay. So we're really working hard to get that kind of data. It's gonna take this year to get it, and the reason I walked up here, I'm asking for your patience with it. It's gonna take some time. Guys, this is a monster. This is a huge parish. We know we have issues with getting parts for tractors, but what we have done on the back end inside the office, I wish y'all would come visit and see some of this. It's not ready for presentation. We're probably, 50% there? We've done matrix. We've performed metrics on spraying, on mowing, lots of it. And I mean, we've really worked hard on this the last couple of weeks. And this will come to you, but we want to prove it, make sure it's correct. But this is how we're going to address our work order system in the future. And that way the reports actually reflect the work order and what we're doing, and our residents really know where we're going. We think it's more of a maintenance plan to be able to so that they know they're going to get X amount of cycles a year, and they're going to get it in this month or this month. And anything in between, you have to be patient. It's not your turn. So that we can guarantee everybody service. So
I appreciate that update. I mean, I've asked it before, obviously, but,
Yeah.
I just think it's good that we keep talking about it, and I know you guys are working on it, so I appreciate the update.
Thank y'all.
Okay.
Mr. Cagnolati.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was just complimenting you on the results I've seen just in my district and all over.
Thank you.
But additionally, it was interesting that Highway 431 got cut on a Friday, Saturday. And I'm just thinking maybe we need to weigh spending that overtime, because on Saturday and Sunday, the traffic's probably not as bad as a workday. And it might be a better idea.
My crew was saying it was just as challenging as any other work day.
Oh, was it? Because, I mean, you would think Saturday is, you said there were no safety issues, but hopefully you would think on a Saturday or Sunday, there's less highway traffic on the main thoroughfares anyway. People won't be going to work and all that. It's just something to consider.
Okay, we stay busy and send them on the weekends, man. We got places to go.
There's only so many places you can go in Santa Monica. That's the problem.
He showed them.
Yeah.
He showed DeLong's grocery.
That's it. Thank you. Appreciate the hard work.
Thank you.
Mr. President.
Yeah, so as they develop these matrix, what we also want to look at, because what I noticed this year is we did have a dry period in the beginning. Now, the problem was that they kicked butt and they got it done and they were really cutting. Problem is it wasn't peak growing season, so they got a lot accomplished. But once this growing season hit, so did the rain. And so I want those matrix to show how weather impacted our daily work schedule. And sometimes this overtime is if we get a little dry weather on the weekend, they got to hit it because we can't go off-road. A lot of the problems that vegetation will get, especially in these wet seasons like we're in now, is we're having to go back and spend manpower repairing yards. And these tractors are heavy, and so they're reluctant to go out off-road because we spend a ton of time repairing yards. And so when it gets wet like this and we get rain every day and these little evening showers are causing that, it really stifles production. So that's part of this matrix they're going to look at is, okay, what does this rain cause us so that we can tell our citizens, this is how much rain we've got, and this is the anticipated reduction in efficiency that we're seeing from our vegetating cutting crews. So it's one of those matrices that they're working on, and we're looking forward to, as this develops, that we can kind of show that to the public. Because it's very important. Weather affects vegetation a lot.
I'll just make one more quick comment. Is look, it's and the calls I get the most about vegetation, 431, your stringer bridge, is the state highways. Now, the state highways are not our responsibility, but we took it amongst ourselves to come up with the CEA with the OTD. They do give us a little bit of money, but we lose on there. So I always like to try to explain to constituents that, I think we have roughly 1,000 miles of parish road, and that's not including the state road that we're cutting on top of that. So it's I've always kind of considered it a double-edged sword. We're trying to do better
truly is.
by cutting state roads, but we're also, that's going to put us, in between cuts on our parish roads and ditches like that. So I always try to point that out, and that's it. If there's any other kind of English. If there's not any more questions or comments, we have a motion to adjourn in a second. We are adjourned. Go on.